Thomas and Friends, making tracks to great destinations.
Now pulling into the station, Thomas and Friends Mix Up Match Up. Match all the engines before time runs out. Great job! You are a really useful engine. Place stickers anywhere on the scene. Well done! Save pictures to your photo collection. Thomas and Friends Mix Up Match Up. Available in the App Store.
Thomas and Percy puffed into the tunnel.
Hello, I'm Thomas.
All aboard! Here you go.
Emily and Dash. Emily is a gleaming green engine. Emily likes to do the best and be the best at all times and in all places. Early one morning, Emily roared and raced to Misty Island. The Fat Controller had a special for her. At the logging camp, the logging locos were playing a favourite game, warbling whistles. Emily puffed proudly in.
Hello, logging locos.
Bash, Dash and Ferdinand chuffed chirpily.
Hello, Emily. The Fat Controller is coming to give me my reward for being really useful.
That's right!
Just then, the Fat Controller arrived on Thomas.
Today is the Children's Steam Fair. Emily, your special is to take Dash to the fair. Your reward, Dash, is to be the star of the fair.
Bash and Dash whistled and whooped with joy. Thomas was surprised. Their whistles warbled like tweeting and twittering birds.
Bubbling boilers. I've never heard an engine tweet like a bird. The children will be excited to hear you.
Emily had heard the logging locos tweeting and twittering too. She wanted to tweet and twitter like them.
How do you whistle like that?
You chuff out your cheeks and you scrunch up your eyes.
Then you huff and you puff, and the twitters will rise.
Emily watched.
That's easy.
It's very, very hard. It takes a long, long time to learn.
That's right.
Emily sniffed and snorted.
It won't take me a long, long time. I shall learn on my way to the steam fair very, very quickly.
Emily and Dash wheeshed along.
I'll Twitter and tweet. I'll soon find the way. It can't be that hard, whatever they say.
Emily and Dash huffed up to a junction.
Please show me once more.
Of course I will, Emily, but be careful. Twitters and tweets use a lot of...
Fuel.
Emily wasn't bothered by fuel.
First, you chuff out your cheeks.
Emily chuffed and chuffed until her cheeks were rosy red. Just then, Gordon steamed grandly by. He was on his way to the steam fair. Gordon stopped.
Oh dear, Emily. Whatever's the matter?
Emily felt silly. Gordon grinned. Dash twittered and tweeted.
My, Dash, the children will like that. That's a special trick.
Emily was cross. She wanted to do the special trick, so Emily huffed huffily away. Emily and Dash clickety-clacked along the track.
I'll Twitter and tweet. I'll soon find the way. It can't be that hard, whatever they say.
Emily and Dash huffed to a quiet siding.
Please show me again.
Dash was worried.
Emily, I could run out of...
Fuel. I'm sure you won't.
Very well. First, you chuff out your cheeks. Then, you scrunch up your eyes.
Just then, Charlie whooshed by, on his way to the steam fair. He screeched to a stop and giggled.
Trembling tracks, Emily! What's happened to your face? You look very funny!
Charlie chuckled cheerfully. Emily felt even sillier. Dash twittered and tweeted.
Bust my buffers! That's a special trick!
Emily felt even crosser that she couldn't do the special trick, so she grumped grumpily away. Emily and Dash rattled and raced.
I'll Twitter and tweet. I'll soon find the way. It can't be that hard, whatever they say.
Emily and Dash stopped at another siding. Dash was even more worried.
I can't puff again, Emily. I'll run out of...
Fuel. Don't worry.
Dash pumped his pistons.
You chuff out your cheeks and you scrunch up your eyes. Then you huff and you puff and the twitters will... oh!
Just then, Hero rolled by on his way to the steam fair. He hushed to a halt.
Emily, your face is very strange. I must tell the Fat Controller at once.
Don't do that, Hero.
Emily gasped and groaned.
Pump your pistons, Dash. We must huff to the fair.
Then there was trouble.
Oh!
Dash couldn't pump his pistons. Dash had run out of fuel.
Don't worry, Emily. I'm sure you will Twitter and tweet without me.
Emily steamed into the fair. The children had heard about the twitters and tweets. Emily chuffed out her cheeks. She scrunched up her eyes. Then she stopped. The children watched. The children waited.
Fizzling fireboxes. I can't remember what to do next.
The children were disappointed. Emily felt terrible. She had been a really silly engine. She had let Dash down. She had let the children down. Now she had no time to lose.
Children, I will bring Dash to you. He can Twitter and tweet perfectly. It's his special trick.
Hooray!
Emily pulled up to Dash.
I've brought you fuel.
Thank you, Emily.
Emily was happy to help Dash. Now, Emily wasn't thinking about Twitters and tweets. She wanted to make the children happy. Emily and Dash chuffed back to the steam fair. The children were laughing at Charlie's jokes. They saw Emily, then they saw Dash. The children squealed and squeaked for joy.
Here's the star of the fair!
Dash puffed forward proudly.
You chuff out your cheeks and you scrunch up your eyes. Then you huff and you puff and the twitters will rise.
The children cheered and clapped. Dash giggled and jiggled, and Emily laughed so hard her whistle warbled, and she twittered and tweeted.
Hooray for Emily!
Hooray for Emily! Hooray, Emily!
That was worth
Waiting for.
And Emily felt happier than ever.
Calling all engines! Calling all engines! It's Thomas. He's the #1 blue engine. He's a cheeky little tank engine with 6 small wheels, a short stumpy funnel and a whistle. Thomas works on his very own branch line with his 2 faithful coaches, Annie and Clarabelle. Sometimes he can be a little impatient, often getting himself into trouble. Oh, Thomas. But Thomas is always helpful and works very hard. That's why he's a really useful engine. Wait a moment. Who's that coming down the line? It's Percy. He's the #6 green engine. He's one of the younger engines on the Island of Sodor. Percy is Thomas's best friend. Like Thomas, Percy is a tank engine. His favourite job is delivering the mail. Percy always wants to do his best and never gives up. That's why he's a really useful engine.
Up and away. Thomas and Percy are best friends. Whenever they meet, they like to greet each other with a toot and a hoot and a whoop of joy. One morning, Thomas chuffed into Tidmouth Sheds. He was very excited.
Mr. Bubbles is bringing his big balloon show to Sodor. He's going to blow the biggest balloons ever.
Big balloons make my boiler bubble, Thomas.
Thomas laughed. He liked to see his best friend happy.
If we puff quickly, Percy, we'll be in time to meet Mr. Bubbles at the docks.
So Thomas and Percy raced to the docks. Then they gasped. There was the biggest balloon Thomas and Percy had ever seen.
Fizzling fireboxes.
The Fat Controller smiled.
Thomas and Percy, you will take the big balloon to the showground. You must be there by tea time. Chuff carefully.
Thomas and Percy jiggled with joy.
Yes, sir.
Gordon is to take me to pick up Lady Hat and Dowager Hat. Then we will go to the balloon show.
This is a very special, Percy.
The most special of all.
So Percy and Thomas buffered up to the big balloon. Percy was so excited his rods rattled.
We will chuff along the woodland track. It's quiet and calm.
Percy's firebox flickered.
The balloon might be popped by the prickles on the woodland track. We should take the coast track. It's flat and fast.
Thomas was worried that the coast track might be windy, but he didn't want to upset Percy.
Very well, Percy. We'll take the coast track.
So Thomas and Percy pulled proudly away with the big balloon. The coast track was flat and fast. Percy was pleased, but Thomas was worried.
The wind has started to whip and whistle.
It puffed and it huffed the balloon up in the air and away.
Cinders and ashes.
Flatten my funnel.
We must rattle and race after the big balloon.
Percy's boiler bubbled.
No, Thomas. We should wait and watch for the big balloon. It's sure to float back to us.
Thomas wasn't sure, but he didn't want to upset Percy.
Very well, Percy.
So Thomas and Percy waited and watched. Then Gordon huffed huffily in. He was on his way to pick up the Fat Controller.
What are you two doing?
We're waiting for the big balloon.
To flutter and float back to us.
Gordon grunted grumpily.
The big balloon won't float back to you. The wind will whip it away.
And it did. That made Percy very upset. Thomas didn't want Percy to be upset.
Don't worry, Percy. We'll chuff back to the docks. Mr. Bubbles is sure to have another big balloon.
Mr. Bubbles had blown up another big balloon. His cheeks were red and rosy.
Thank you, Mr. Bubbles. Pump your pistons for the show, Percy.
Thomas and Percy giggled and jiggled along the track. Then they came to a tunnel.
Cinders and ashes. This tunnel is too small for the big balloon.
Buffers and bumpers.
We must chuff back to another tunnel.
Percy's funnel fizzed.
No, Thomas. I'm sure we can pull the big balloon through the tunnel.
Thomas wasn't sure at all, but he didn't want to upset his best friend Percy.
Very well, Percy. Puff on.
But the big balloon was too big. It stuck tight. Then Gordon wished in. The Fat Controller was in his carriage. The big balloon blocked his track.
What are you two doing now?
We're trying to push.
And pull the big balloon through the tunnel.
Gordon grunted and groaned.
Oh, it will pop!
That made Percy upset. Thomas didn't want Percy to be upset.
Don't worry, Percy. We can chuff back to the docks. Mr. Bubbles is sure to have another big balloon.
Mr. Bubbles had huffed and puffed. He had blown up another big balloon.
Thank you, Mr. Bubbles. Pump your pistons, Percy. Off we puff to the show.
Now, Thomas and Percy were late for the show. They wheeshed and they whooshed like the wind. The big balloon bobbled and wobbled. Then, Gordon thundered towards them.
Out of my way! Express coming through!
Thomas and Percy screeched to a stop.
Trembling tracks.
The big balloon bounced from the flatbed high into the sky. Then it fizzed and it whizzed, darting this way and that as it shrank smaller and smaller.
My hat!
My hat!
My hat!
All the hats were hatless.
Thomas, what are you doing?
Thomas felt terrible, and Percy was upset.
I promised to look after the big balloon, and I haven't. I didn't want Percy to be upset, and now he is. I knew what to do, but I didn't do it.
Why didn't you, Thomas?
Thomas wheeshed and whooshed.
I didn't want to upset you, Percy.
Percy smiled and sighed.
You can't upset me, Thomas. You're my best friend.
You're right, Percy.
Shall we puff back to Brendam for another balloon?
No, Percy. First, we'll ask the drivers to pick up the hats for the hats. Next, we must clear the tunnel. We'll biff and we'll bash the balloon till it pops. Lastly, we'll pick up Mr. Bubbles and another big balloon and chuff carefully along the woodland track to the show. Hooray and hurrah!
The woodland track was quiet and calm.
You were right, Thomas.
Thank you, Percy.
And the two friends smiled all the way to the big balloon show. Then, from high in the sky, another big balloon floated down.
Look at that, Gordon. The wind has brought it back to us.
And even Gordon whistled and whooped with wonder.
Go, Thomas! Go, go, Thomas! Go, go! Number one! Go, go, Thomas! Something good's gonna happen today. Oh, my, hey, hey, hey. Use your ears, use your eyes. Thomas is in for a big surprise. On the tracks, through the trees, over the hills and by the sea. On the way for work and play, really useful every day. Edward, Emily, James and Toby too. Gordon, Henry, Percy coming through. Thomas and friends all know what to do. Thomas, number one. Go, go, Thomas. Thomas, number one. Go, go, number one. Go, go, Thomas. Little by little, day by day. Oh, my, hey, hey, hey. All the friends are helping out. Now we get ready to shout it out. Edward, Emily, James and Toby too. Gordon, Henry, Percy coming through. Thomas and friends all know what to do.
Slippy Sodor. It was a very special day on the Island of Sodor. The Mr. Bubbles clown show was coming to town. Mr. Bubbles was famous. He could blow the biggest bubbles ever seen. All the engines were happy and excited, except for Thomas. He had a cracked funnel and had to puff to the steamworks for repairs. At the steamworks, everything was huffing and puffing and steaming and wheeshing. Everything except Thomas. He waited sadly on the turntable for Victor to arrive. Thomas didn't like it when he needed repairs. It meant waiting inside and not having fun out on his branch line.
Don't look so miserable, Thomas. We'll find you a nice spare funnel and have you out and about in no time. Kevin, let's see what we have for our good friend Thomas.
Yes, boss. Coming right up. Sorry, boss. It was a slip of the hook.
Oh, Kevin. Well, that won't do at all, my friend. This funnel is much too small. Kevin, let's try something a little larger.
Yes, boss. Right away, boss.
Oh, Suffer in Sodor, Kevin. What are you doing?
Sorry, boss. It was a slip of the hook.
Yes, we know, Kevin. We know.
Try this one besides, Thomas.
No. This one is too large.
We only have one more spare funnel, boss. I'll be back in 2 toots of a whistle.
Let's hope it's a good fit, my friend, or you'll be here for quite a while.
Here it is, Thomas. Oops, sorry, Thomas. It was a slip of the hook.
I know, Kevin. I know.
Magnificent! A perfect fit.
This funnel makes me feel silly.
Not at all, my friend. It's splendid. It will help you puff very well until your old funnel is fixed. Now chuff along. I hear that Mr. Bubbles has a very special for you at Brendam Docks.
Thomas chuffed into Brendan. He was very unhappy. Mr. Bubbles was waiting. He was very happy to see Thomas.
Hello, Thomas.
Mr. Bubbles has a very important job for you, Thomas. This is my very special bubble liquid. It makes the biggest bubbles you have ever seen. I need it for my show this afternoon. Please take it to Knapford Station.
So Thomas backed up slowly and carefully to the flatbed and was coupled up.
Now, you mustn't spill any of the liquid, Thomas. Puff slowly and carefully.
Yes, sir.
We'll meet you at Knapford.
Then James chuffed up.
Hello, Thomas. Ha! That's a funny funnel.
Thomas didn't want a funny funnel. He wanted his old funnel back, and he didn't like James laughing at his funny funnel. So Thomas pumped his pistons and raced away as quickly as he could. He forgot all about going slowly and carefully. Later, Thomas stopped at a crossing. He saw Gordon.
Hello, Thomas. That's a funny funnel.
Thomas didn't want a funny funnel. He wanted his old funnel back, and he didn't like Gordon laughing at his funny funnel. So Thomas pumped his pistons and raced away from Gordon as quickly as he could. He wasn't thinking about going slowly and carefully. Bubble liquid splished out and sploshed onto the road, but Thomas didn't notice. The Fat Controller was driving Mr. Bubbles on the road. Then there was trouble. The car skidded and skated right into a muddy ditch. Thomas raced on. He stopped at a signal and saw Henry in a siding.
Hello, Thomas. Oh, that's a funny funnel.
Thomas didn't want a funny funnel. He wanted his old funnel back, and he didn't like Henry laughing at his funny funnel. So Thomas pumped his pistons and raced away from Henry as quickly as he could. He still wasn't thinking about going slowly and carefully. The Fat Controller and Mr. Bubbles drove toward a bridge.
Slow down, Thomas! You're spilling my bubble liquid!
But Thomas didn't hear them. More bubble liquid splished out and sploshed onto the road. The Fat Controller's car skidded and skated right into a haystack. But Thomas didn't notice. He went even faster. And so did the Fat Controller and Mr. Bubbles. Thomas didn't see them, but he did see a red signal. Thomas put on his brakes. More bubble liquid splished out and sploshed onto the road. The Fat Controller's car skidded and skated right into a pond. But Thomas was too worried about his funny funnel to notice. He raced on towards Knapford. At last, Thomas puffed into Knapford just as the Fat Controller and Mr. Bubbles arrived. The Fat Controller was very cross.
Thomas, you were going much too fast. The special bubble liquid splished and splashed out of the tank. And now the tank is empty. And it's almost time for my show to start. The children will be very disappointed.
Thomas felt terrible.
I'm sorry, sir.
The only special bubble liquid left is at Brendam Docks. Now there isn't time to pick it up before the show.
Yes, there is. I'm sure I can puff to Brendam and back in time for your show.
Very well, Thomas. But this time, you must be careful.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
And Thomas chuffed quickly away. Soon, Thomas arrived back at Brendam Docks. A new tank of bubble liquid was loaded onto his flatbed, and Thomas puffed carefully away. Thomas saw Edward at a crossing.
Hello, Thomas. That's a funny funnel.
Thomas didn't like Edward laughing at his funny funnel, but this time Thomas didn't pump his pistons and race away from Edward as quickly as he could. He chuffed carefully on to Knapford. Then Thomas puffed past some children. The children saw his funny funnel. They were excited. They thought Thomas was going to be part of Mr. Bubble's show. Thomas was surprised. He gave the children an extra loud toot. The children laughed even more. Thomas liked to see the children laughing.
They're laughing at my funny funnel. It makes them happy.
And that made Thomas happy. Thomas steamed back into Knapford. The children cheered.
Well done, Thomas. You haven't spilled one drop of my special bubble liquid, and you're just in time for my show.
Later, the children clapped and cheered at the Mr. Bubbles Clown Show. They had never seen such big bubbles. Then the children spotted that Thomas's funny funnel looked just like Mr. Bubbles' hat.
Thank you, Thomas. The funniest engine on Sodor.
Soon, everyone was laughing, and Thomas most of all.
Can you guess who this is? Keep guessing. Did you guess? It's Emily. Can you guess who this is? Keep guessing. Did you guess? It's Dash. Can you guess who this is? Keep guessing. Did you guess? It's Charlie.
Percy's Parcel. It was a beautiful day on the island of Sodor. The sun was shining in a bright blue sky, and all the engines were very excited. There was to be a special party. It was Dowager Hat's birthday. The Fat Controller arrived at Tidmouth Sheds. He had a special for Thomas.
Thomas, you are to collect passengers for the party from Brendam Docks.
Thomas was excited.
Yes, sir.
Percy hoped that the Fat Controller had a special for him. But he didn't.
Don't worry, Percy. I'm sure you'll have a special later.
But Percy still felt sad. Mavis rolled by and stopped. She could see Percy was unhappy.
What's wrong, Percy?
I don't have a special. Everybody else does.
Don't worry, Percy. I'm sure the Fat Controller will come back with a special just for you. And when he does, be sure to tell me all about it.
Just then, the Fat Controller did come back. Percy was surprised.
Percy, you have the most important special of all. You must collect my mother's special birthday parcel from Brendon Docks. Then you must deliver it to the birthday party at Knapford Station.
Percy beamed from buffer to buffer.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Percy was excited. Mavis had been right. Percy puffed into Brendon Docks. He gasped. The parcel was the most special parcel he had ever seen. Percy was so proud his firebox fizzed.
I must show Mavis straight away. She'll be very proud of me.
Thomas was at Brendon. He was pleased for his friend.
Percy, you have the most important special of all.
I know. I'm going to show Mavis my special straight away.
But don't you have to go to Knapford Station?
Percy didn't want to listen to Thomas.
I have plenty of time to puff to Knapford. First, I will show Mavis my special.
So Percy set off for the quarry as quickly as he could puff. Percy steamed into the quarry. He looked for Mavis. Mavis was busy. Rocky was loading heavy crates onto trucks, and Mavis was shunting them. It was hard work.
Hello, Mavis.
Hello, Percy.
Look at my special.
I'm sorry, Percy. I can't stop now. I'm too busy.
Don't worry, Mavis. I'll wait.
Look out, Percy!
But it was too late.
Whoa!
Rocky dropped his heavy load of slate. Everyone was lost in a thick black cloud of slate dust. At last, the dust cleared. Mavis, Rocky and Percy were covered in thick grey dust. And so was Percy's special. Percy was upset.
Bubbling boilers! Look at the birthday parcel. What am I going to do?
Percy thought as hard as he could. At last, an idea flew into his funnel.
I'll go to the washdown. My special will be cleaned there as good as new.
Percy, shouldn't you go straight to the party at Knapford?
Percy didn't want to listen to Rocky.
I'll go to Knapford Station as soon as I've shown Mavis my special. I still have plenty of time.
So Percy steamed quickly away. Percy huffed and puffed to the washdown. James was already there having a polish.
My, Percy, whatever happened to you?
Percy felt very silly.
I'd like a very good wash, please.
The workmen got straight to work. Water and soapy bubbles sprayed everywhere. Soon Percy was gleaming green again, but his special looked terrible.
Bubbling boilers! The birthday parcel is wetter than wet. What am I going to do?
Percy thought as quickly as he could. At last, another idea flew into his funnel.
I'll take my special to the Sodor Steamworks. Victor will help me. His hot air blowers will dry the birthday parcel.
Percy, shouldn't you go straight to the party at Knapford?
Percy didn't want to listen to James.
I'll go to Knapford Station as soon as I've shown Mavis my special. I'm sure I still have plenty of time.
And Percy chuffed quickly away. Percy raced like the wind to the steamworks. Percy looked for Victor at the steamworks. He couldn't find him anywhere. But he did find a workman.
I'd like to be dried as quickly as you can, please.
The workman was happy to help. Hot air whooshed and whirred all over Percy and all over his special. Soon the workman had finished. Percy felt very pleased until he saw the birthday parcel.
Wobbling wheels! It's all crinkled and crumpled. What am I going to do?
Percy thought as hard as he could, But this time, no ideas flew into his funnel at all, so Percy steamed sadly away. Percy clickety-clacked slowly along the track. Now he didn't want to show Mavis his special. He had spoiled Dowager Hat's birthday parcel. He couldn't go to the party at Knapford now. Percy didn't want anyone to see him, so he chuffed into a siding to hide. He felt terrible. Then he heard Mavis and Edward chuff to the junction.
Hello, Mavis. You look happy.
I am. I've just picked up these brand new crates.
Suddenly, Percy stopped feeling sad, and he started to listen very carefully.
Brand new crates?
Victor had just delivered them to the steamworks. I've never pulled brand new crates before. Goodbye, Edward.
A brand new crate is just what I need.
Percy pumped his pistons and puffed away to the steamworks.
Hello, Victor.
Hello, my friend. How can I help you?
I've just seen Mavis with brand new crates. May I have one, please?
Well, what for?
To put my birthday parcel in.
Well, of course you can, Percy.
That made Percy very happy.
Thank you, Victor.
Soon, a new bright red crate was sitting on Percy's flatbed.
This will be the grandest parcel the Fat Controller's mother has ever been given. I must hurry now. Everyone will be waiting. Thank you, Victor.
And Percy puffed proudly out of the steamworks. The Fat Controller and Dowager Hat were waiting at Knapford Station. The Fat Controller was cross. Then Percy puffed in. The brand new bright red birthday parcel looked wonderful. Everyone cheered.
Happy birthday, Mom. Here's your very special birthday present.
Dowager Hat beamed, and even the Fat Controller smiled. As the workmen opened the crate, everyone wanted to see what the present was. Dowager Hat was most excited of all. Then everyone gasped. It was a beautiful portrait of Dowager Hat.
Oh, my Bertram! What a wonderful surprise! I'm very happy.
That's the most special I've ever seen, Percy.
Percy smiled from footplate to fender. He was sure he was the happiest engine of all.
Well, hello. The Earl of Sodor here. You know, Sodor is such an exciting place. There are so many wonderful things to see. But just how closely are you watching? Percy has a special birthday delivery for Dowager Hat. Well done, Percy. This is all very exciting. I wonder what's inside. My goodness, what a fabulous birthday picture. Now, are you ready for the first question? Can you remember whose face was on that fabulous birthday picture? Was it a picture of Thomas? A picture of Dowager Hat? Or a picture of me? Yes, it was a splendid picture of Dowager Hat. Dowager Hat does look pleased. And so does Percy. Did you get it right? Oh, very well done. Let's play again. Thomas is delivering bottles of fizzy drinks, but he's shaking them about, and their corks are popping. Thomas tells Mr. Bubbles it's the funniest noise he's heard. Oh, dear me. Poor Mr. Bubbles. Are you ready for the next question? Can you remember what Mr. Bubbles lost? Was it his bow tie, his hat, or his red nose? Did you remember? A cork from one of the bottles knocked off Mr. Bubbles' red nose. But don't worry, Mr. Bubbles soon bought himself a new red nose. Did you get it right? Jolly well done. I think you deserve a really useful certificate for watching so closely. And I hope I'll see you again soon. Goodbye.
Charlie and Eddie. On the island of Sodor, all the engines are proud to work for the Fat Controller's railway. They chuff and puff and heave and haul their hardest to make sure the Fat Controller is proud of them. One morning, the Fat Controller's car had broken down. Edward was to take the car to Maron Station. The mechanic was waiting there to fix it. Edward was proud to help the Fat Controller. Just then, Charlie chuffed cheerily in.
Good morning, Charlie.
Hello, Edward. Do you want to hear a good joke? Where do crocodiles keep their money?
I don't know.
In a riverbank!
But Edward didn't laugh. He didn't even smile.
I have an important job to do. I have to take the Fat Controller's car to Maron Station to be fixed. He needs it this evening. I must hurry.
Charlie sighed.
You know, Edward, maybe you're too old to be fun.
Edward stopped. He didn't like being told that he was too old to be fun. He thought he was as much fun as any young engine.
I can be a lot of fun, Charlie.
Then show me.
Edward huffed and puffed. He knew he should chuff carefully to Maron Station with the Fat Controller's car, but he also knew Charlie wouldn't think that was fun. So Edward decided not to take the careful track.
Follow me, Charlie. I'll take you on the bumpiest and jumpiest, the twistiest and turniest tracks to Maron Station. Then you'll see just how much fun I can be.
I'm ready, Eddie.
So Edward puffed away to Maron Station with Charlie chuffing close behind. First, Edward and Charlie clickety-clacked along the bumpiest tracks. They jiggled and joggled and they bumped and they jumped.
Whee! This is fun!
Next, Edward and Charlie rattled round some of the bendiest bends.
Fizzling fireboxes! I didn't think you'd be this much fun, Edward.
This made Edward happy. Edward and Charlie rocked and they rolled, and they told jokes.
OK, Charlie, I have a joke for you. How do you know when an engine is eating?
I don't know, Eddie. Tell me.
You hear it chewing.
That's a good one, Eddie. You really are the most fun of all.
At last, Edward and Charlie puffed into Maron Station. Thomas was there, but there was no mechanic on the platform.
Hello, Edward. The mechanic was waiting for you. Now he's left on Bertie the bus.
Suddenly, Edward was worried.
Oh, my. I spent too much time on the bumpy and bendy tracks having fun.
Charlie sighed.
Is that as much fun as you can be, Edward?
Edward didn't like that.
No, I can be much more fun than that. We'll chase Bertie the bus to catch up with the mechanic.
Good idea! I'm ready, Eddie!
So Edward and Charlie pumped their pistons and chuffed off for the chase. Edward and Charlie raced and chased after Bertie the bus. They thundered through junctions. They flew over bridges and they clattered through tunnels. But Edward and Charlie couldn't catch up with Bertie.
Flatten my funnel! That was fun!
Now Edward was worried. He had not done his job. The Fat Controller would be cross.
I think we should stop at the next junction. Then we can ask the signalman to send a message to the mechanic.
I was right. You are too old to be fun.
Edward didn't like that. Then an idea flew into his funnel.
We'll take the Fat Controller's car to the steamworks to be fixed. It's always fun there.
Charlie was surprised.
Bubbling boilers, Edward. That will be the most fun of all. I'm ready, Eddie.
So Charlie and Edward puffed off to the steamworks. Charlie and Edward steamed in.
Hello, Kevin. Where's Victor?
Hello, Edward. Victor has gone to pick up a part. Can I help?
I'd like you to fix the Fat Controller's car.
Kevin was surprised.
Sling my hook. We don't fix cars.
I'm sure you can. We will be back later to pick up the car.
Edward, you're not too old to have fun. You were the most fun of all.
That made Edward very happy. Later, Charlie and Edward returned. Kevin was very excited.
Here you are, Edward.
Kevin trundled to one side. He giggled giddily. There was the Fat Controller's car, with a funnel on its roof.
It's a fun funnel.
Edward gasped. Just then, the Fat Controller arrived. He didn't think the funnel was fun at all.
Edward, what have you done to my car?
Edward felt terrible.
I'm sorry, sir. I was trying to be really useful and really fun. But it has all gone wrong. This is a disaster. I wish I had just been really useful.
So do I, Edward.
Please, sir, I can take you and Lady Hat this evening. Then, tomorrow morning, your car will be fixed.
Very well, Edward.
Edward puffed into Knapford Station with Lady Hat and the Fat Controller. Charlie was there.
Hello, Eddie. I'm ready for more fun.
Not now, Charlie. It's not the time for fun. It's the time to be really useful. I have to hurry to the steamworks.
Edward puffed into the steamworks. Charlie chuffed close behind.
Would you like to hear another joke, Edward?
No. Thank you, Charlie. This isn't the time for jokes. I have to collect the Fat Controller's car. Kevin, please take the funnel off the Fat Controller's car. It was fun, but it wasn't really useful.
Right, boss. Edward. Whatever you say.
Thank you, Kevin.
Later, Edward puffed out of the steamworks with the Fat Controller's car. It was as good as new and funnel-free. All along the track, as Edward clackety-clacked, people cheered and clapped.
This is fun!
And Charlie had to agree.
Oh, hello there. Would you like to be one of my little helpers? How well do you know the engines on Sodor? Let's play Who's That Engine? If I give you some clues, can you tell me who this is? This is one of my older engines. It's blue with red bands around its boiler and yellow lining around its windows. It has 4 small blue leading wheels and 4 large driving wheels. And a whistle, which sounds like this. This is one of my tender engines, carrying its coal and water in a tender behind it. It's a wise and friendly engine who wears the number 2. So, who's that engine? That's right, it's Edward. Well done. I think you deserve my little helper's certificate. When Edward was sent to help at the search and rescue centre, he was worried he wouldn't be a very good search and rescue engine. That he could never be like Gordon, who was strong, fast and stern, like a hero should be. But on his way to the rescue centre, Edward took time to help his friends. Edward met Charlie. Charlie couldn't remember any jokes, so Edward told him a very funny new joke. Charlie loved Edward's joke and promised to tell it to the children. Later, Edward met Dowager Hat at Maithwaite Station. Her suitcase had been sent to the wrong place, so Edward kindly went to collect it. Dowager Hat was very pleased. Then Edward found Katy the sheepdog, lost on the tracks. She was frightened. Edward knew he needed to be quiet and gentle so he could rescue Katy and take her back to Farmer McColl. Everyone was very pleased with Edward, who realised you don't have to be strong or fast or stern to be a hero. You can also be funny, kind and gentle. And that's why Edward is a really useful engine. And you are a really useful little helper.
Thomas and the Snowman Party. It was a snowy winter's day on the Island of Sodor. The children were busy building the biggest snowman on Sodor. All the engines wanted to help the children. They were very excited. Thomas whooshed into the town square. Thomas's best friend Percy was there. So was James. Percy was smiling.
Hello, Percy. You look happy.
There's going to be a snowman party, Thomas. Farmer McColl's sheepdog will hunt the hat.
The brass band will play.
And Mr. Bubbles the clown is going to do magic hat tricks.
Thomas's firebox fizzed.
That will be fun.
Then the Fat Controller arrived.
There is a lot to do for the snowman party. You have all to huff your hardest. Percy, you will collect cupcakes from the bakery.
Right away, sir.
James, you must collect the special guests from Brendam Docks.
Yes, sir.
And Thomas, you are to pick up an important package from Knapford Station.
Thomas pumped his pistons proudly. Then he saw that the children looked sad.
Our snowman has a carrot for a nose, coal for his eyes and mouth, and a brightly coloured scarf. But he doesn't have a hat.
Thomas didn't want the children to be sad. Thomas wanted to help the children.
Don't worry. I'll find a hat for your snowman.
So Thomas didn't go to Knapford Station to pick up the important package. He chuffed cheerfully away to find a hat. Thomas clickety-clacked along the track.
I'll look and find a hat. The children will be pleased with that.
Thomas puffed past Farmer McColl's farm. Suddenly, he huffed to a halt. There was a big brown hat on a hay bale. Thomas's boiler bubbled with excitement.
This would be a very good hat for the children's snowman. That would make them happy.
So Thomas's driver put the big brown hat into Thomas's cab. And Thomas huffed happily away. Thomas clattered along the track.
I've found a hat! I've found a hat! The children will be pleased with that.
And Thomas wheeshed on to pick up the important package. On his way to Knapford, Thomas chuffed through Marron Station. Suddenly, he screeched to a stop. There was another big hat on the platform bench. Thomas smiled from footplate to fender.
This hat is even bigger than the big brown hat. It will make the children even happier.
So Thomas's driver put the big hat in Thomas's cab.
I've found a bigger, better hat. The children will be pleased with that.
And Thomas puffed perkily away to pick up the important package. On his way to Knapford, Thomas steamed through Maithwaite Station. Suddenly he stopped. There was a very big hat sitting on some suitcases. It was blue and green and red and purple. It was the most colourful hat Thomas had ever seen. It was also the biggest.
This hat would make the children happiest of all.
So Thomas's driver put the big colourful hat into Thomas's cab.
I've found the biggest, brightest hat. The children will be pleased with that.
And Thomas wheeshed away to pick up the important package. Then Thomas chuffed to a junction. Toby was there. Toby was worried.
The children have finished building their snowman, but they still don't have a hat for him.
Thomas gasped.
I have a hat for the children's snowman. I'll take it to them right away.
Thomas pumped his pistons and raced to the town square.
Hello, Percy. Hello, James.
Percy and James looked sad.
Farmer McColl has lost his big brown hat. Now his sheepdog can't hunt the hat.
The brass band haven't arrived. They're looking for the conductor's big hat.
And Mr. Bubbles has lost his blue, red, green and purple hat. Now he can't do any magic hat tricks.
Thomas felt terrible.
Cinders and ashes. I have all those hats in my cab.
Percy and James were surprised.
I wanted to help the children. I wanted to find a hat for their snowman. I wanted to make them happy.
Then the Fat Controller arrived.
Where is my important package, Thomas?
I'm sorry, sir. Your important package is still at Knapford Station. I was trying to find a hat for the children's snowman. Now you don't have your package, and I have spoiled the children's fun.
The Fat Controller looked cross.
I'm sure I can put this right, sir.
Very well, Thomas.
So Thomas raced away as fast as his wheels could whir. Thomas puffed into Knapford Station. The Fat Controller's important package was put into his cab, and Thomas raced quickly away. Next, Thomas wheeshed to Farmer McColl's farm. Farmer McColl and his sheepdog were looking for his big brown hat.
I have your hat, sir. The children are waiting for you at the snowman party.
So Farmer McColl and his sheepdog jumped into Annie, and Thomas steamed swiftly away. Then Thomas puffed to Marron Station. The brass band was still looking for the conductor's hat.
I have your hat, sir. All aboard for the town square and the snowman party.
So the conductor and the brass band climbed into Annie and Clarabelle. And Thomas raced off. Thomas hurried to Maithwaite Station. Mr. Bubbles had been looking for his magic hat everywhere.
I have your hat, sir.
Hurrah, Thomas! Now I can come to the party and do my magic tricks.
So Mr. Bubbles bounced on board, and Thomas raced like the wind back to the town square and the children's snowman. Thomas chuffed into the town square. His axles ached and his cheeks were rosy red.
Here I am, sir. I have Farmer McColl and his sheepdog, the brass band, Mr. Bubbles, and your important package.
Very good, Thomas.
The Fat Controller opened his important package. Inside was a brand new top hat.
Excellent, Thomas. Just what I needed. And this, children, may be just what you need. A hat for your snowman.
The children cheered, and Thomas beamed from buffer to buffer. This was the grandest snowman on Sodor.
He's the cheeky one. James is fame, but lots of fun. Percy pulls a mail on time. Gordon thunders down the line. Emily really knows her stuff. Henry toots